Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to day 11 of the holiday card series for 2020. Today's card is really fun because it uses no stamps or dies. It's just watercolor and watercolor paper and a brush. Super easy and simple, and it's kind of just painting boxes, really. It's fun to do, and it's very reminiscent of the type of cards that I shared with all of you guys who took my Simply Watercolor Christmas class. If you love today's card idea and you want more like it, check out that class. I will have it linked down below in the video description. So let's get into it. I'm starting out with some Fabriano Artistico extra white cardstock, or watercolor paper I should say, and I'm adhering it to a hardboard with some blue painter's tape to hold it down. I'm going to be painting edge to edge, and so I want to prevent any warping. I'm using my Magello Mission Gold watercolors today, and the very first step of this card design is putting down a very pale color. I've chosen a very pale blue, but you could use any color that you have. I think a really pale gray would be pretty, or even a pale pink for a little bit more of an untraditional or non-traditional Christmas color palette. So I have a very pale blue coming down to the bottom. I'm adding more water to really get that color flowing so it can be a nice flat shade going all the way down to the very bottom edge of this watercolor paper. And if you have any kind of puddles of water collecting at the bottom, you can use the edge of a paper towel and just run it along that edge, and it seeps up or sops up any color that might be kind of collecting at the very bottom. I used my heat tool to speed along the drying process, but you could definitely let this air dry. So now I'm mixing up a few different colors. The idea behind this card is it's going to be a bunch of rectangles and boxes that basically are presents or gift boxes, and I want different colors to be used. So I'm mixing up a nice red shade, and then I wanted more of a toned, kind of like a navy blue shade, maybe a little bit lighter. So this dark navy was a bit too intense, so I added a bit more water, and it's going to tone it back just a little bit until I get a really nice shade. So I'm going to mix up a nice green color. I'm using a very bright, vibrant green, and I'm going to tone it back with a green that's has a little more blue to it. But it's going to be a nice green shade. And the last color I'm mixing is a gray shade. I'm just going to take the regular black from the palette and just water it down until it's the right kind of gray tone for what I have in mind. So it's going to be pretty pale, but not too pale. And as I paint, I am going to be using different tones of each one of these shades. But for the initial painting of each color, I'm going to keep it at this full strength that I've mixed on my palette. Before I get to painting my boxes, I'm going to go ahead and use a pencil and just draw the shapes on here. I'm doing very simple boxes. Some are a little bit skewed, some are a little bit wonky. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a very playful card design. So if you decide to do something like this, get creative. Maybe you even accentuate the wonkiness of some of the boxes, or do triangles or stars or something like that. I'm using a size 4 round brush from Silver Black Velvet, and I'm starting out with the red shade. Now, because I am painting onto a blue background, it is going to modify the color just a little bit. You notice it's really, really bright red on my palette, but it has more of a purple tone when I paint it on my project. That is because it has that very pale blue underneath. So after I had those initial red boxes painted, I watered down my paint even more and painted onto my project. So now I have two tones of red, a dark and a light. I'm going to do the same with this darker blue shade. I'll have a dark version and also a lighter version. Did the exact same thing with the green, and with the gray, I don't think I watered it down. I think I just used all the same kind of shade. Used my heat tool to heat set all of this to speed up the drying, And then I trimmed it down to the exact size of an A2 card. So this is 4¼ by 5½. I'm going to be adding details onto these boxes to make them look like gift boxes using a white gel pen. This is my most favorite gel pen. It doesn't fail me. And I think it's because it's the size 10 bold. So it has a little bit of a bolder line. And so the ink doesn't kind of gum up and get clogged in the pen. I think because it just has a larger stroke, it has less opportunity to dry up. I've had less problems with the size 10 Gelly Roll versus any of the smaller sizes. So I did basic strings and bows, some dots, some outline circles, diagonal stripes, and I also decided to add a fun pattern with Christmas trees up at the top, or just pine trees in general. Added some double stripes and some more dots, and then finished off with a very simple string bow. So now they're all presents. Prepping my card base, I'm using some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. This is the 110-pound version, and I'm using a Tombow Extreme Adhesive tape runner to put adhesive on that card base, and then pressing my watercolor panel directly down onto it. So it's going to go edge to edge on this card. So for the greeting for this card, I decided to use some sentiment strips from CZ Design. This is her Xmas set. It has reverse sentiments. And I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. This is a craft knife from Tim Holtz. And just trim out the phrase that says Happy Holidays. After I have that cut out, I'm going to use my scissors to cut the Happy Holidays apart. And then I'm going to put some black marker along the edge, and it's just going to hide the white core of the cardstock and make it look like it was black paper with a white sentiment on top. I'm going to put some foam adhesive behind both of these words, and then I will adhere them directly onto the front of this card. I'm going to let them be a little bit diagonal and skewed. It kind of plays off the idea of the presents kind of skew-wampus all over the pattern. I used a 1.0 Copic multiliner. It's a nice thick marker tip to put on a line with a ruler. So this is going to give my card a black border and kind of bring in the black that goes along with that sentiment. And that is the complete finished card. So I think I kind of want to make that same card, but use black watercolor paper and metallic paints for all of the presents. Wouldn't that be fun? I think that'd be a really fun idea. Let me know if you're going to try out this idea down in the comments. Let me know if you're going to try it. On screen, I've got 3 more videos. These are all going to be day 11 from previous years of the holiday card series. And don't forget that this Friday for day 12, I will be live here on YouTube at noon Mountain Time. You can tune in and see a little bit of card making live, and it's specifically for the holiday card series. See you then.